his breath. This has gone too far. Despite Ashley's continuous attempts to provoke him, Keanu remained calm, as if her words and actions had no power over him. He sipped his coffee leisurely, his serene expression unshaken. A quiet confidence seemed to radiate from him, subtly captivating those who had been observing. Meanwhile, the couple whispered, "Should we call the manager? This is unacceptable." The man nodded, replying, "I'll handle it." As Ashley walked past Keanu's table again, her voice carried her disdain across the dining room. "I wonder if some people realize they just don't belong in certain places," she said loudly, making sure her words hung in the air. Keanu placed his coffee cup down gently, then stood up. His movement was deliberate, and the room seemed to quiet slightly, as if everyone anticipated what might happen next. With an air of grace, he walked toward the manager's desk, his calm demeanor unbroken. The manager, a well-dressed and composed man, looked up with a professional smile. "Good evening, sir. Is there anything I can assist you with, Sue?" Keanu nodded politely. "Good evening. I wanted to commend the chef for an outstanding meal," he said, his voice carrying across the room. "However, I believe there's something important you should be aware of regarding the service here tonight." Before the manager could respond, Ashley appeared, her expression a mix of nervousness and defiance. "Sir, is there a problem?" she asked, her tone forced. Keanu turned to her, his voice calm but firm. "No problem, just an observation. I believe kindness and respect should be the foundation of any establishment, no matter how exclusive." The manager frowned slightly, his gaze shifting to Ashley, who stood frozen. Whispers filled the dining room, patrons leaning in to hear what would happen next. "I'd like to pay my bill now," Keanu added, handing over his credit card. As the manager processed the payment, Keanu looked around the room, making eye contact with the elderly man, the couple, and a few others who had silently supported him. The manager handed him the receipt with a slight bow. "Thank you for dining with us, sir. We deeply apologize if your experience was less than satisfactory." Keanu smiled warmly. "Thank you. And please, make sure to pass on my compliments to the chef." He turned and began to leave, but before reaching the door, he paused, looking back at Ashley. "Oh, and one more thing," he said, his voice carrying a subtle power that made everyone listen. "Never judge someone by their appearance. You never know who might be sitting at your table." With that, he left, his figure disappearing through the restaurant's grand doors. The room remained silent, the weight of his words settling over everyone. The elderly man raised his glass again, this time with a knowing smile. "To character and grace," he said softly, prompting others around him to nod in agreement. Ashley stood rooted in place, her face pale. The couple immediately called the manager, expressing their concerns about her behavior. And by the end of the night, it wasn't Keanu who had left unnoticed. It was Ashley, slipping away with her head hung low, realizing she had been wrong in every way. Tomorrow, the story of Keanu's quiet strength and Ashley's downfall would spread, not just through the restaurant but far beyond, reminding everyone that true sophistication isn't in what you wear but in how you treat others. As the door of the restaurant swung shut behind Keanu Reeves, a quiet buzz of conversation rippled through the dining room. Patrons exchanged glances and murmurs about what had just transpired. The elderly man, still seated at his table, turned to the manager, who now stood visibly flustered. "Excuse me," the man called with a raised hand, his voice steady. "I think it's time we address the elephant in the room." The manager approached respectfully. "Yes, sir. I'm truly sorry for any discomfort caused tonight." The elderly man gestured toward Ashley, who stood frozen, gripping the edge of a nearby table. This young woman's behavior was not just unprofessional, it was disgraceful. "I've been dining here for years, and I've never witnessed anything so inappropriate." Ashley's face turned red as several other patrons chimed in. "He didn't deserve that," one woman said, her voice sharp. "Honestly, she made all of us uncomfortable," added another. "It's not just about him. It's about the atmosphere she created." The manager raised a hand to calm the growing murmurs. "Thank you all for bringing this to my attention," he said. Turning to Ashley, his expression grew stern. "Ashley, could I speak to you in my office?"
Now.
Ashley hesitated, her defiance faltering. She cast a desperate glance at her coworkers, but none met her gaze. Head lowered, she followed the manager into the back, where the door closed with a definitive click. Back in the dining room, the tension began to dissipate. The elderly man smiled kindly at the couple seated nearby. It's moments like these that remind us, kindness is always in style, isn't it?